Let's not forget this one particular memory on this very day. And it actually happened on Labor Day back in 2011, as you can see here in the thumbnail. I remember that was also my first hangout with Russ ever. I'm talking about like not counting the times that we seen each other, in 2007 when in between classes, for me at least, like, having these periods in between classes where I would always run into him. I'm talking about our first hangout ever, and I didn't have his number by then. I always, we communicated via email at the time, so we that was our first ever hangout, believe it or not, when me and him went to see this movie that starred Julia Montes and Kathryn Bernardo in Way Back Home. Now, mind you, that movie was released nationwide. What was it? Like in the middle of August, if I'm not mistaken. And it was actually, and you see that theater right there on the left? That was one of the theaters that was selected, for this particular movie. And I've had a few chances to watch it, but then something told me I was going to miss out. And I think originally the last showing was going to be on the last day of August, right? But I was very fortunate that there was an extension for this movie, because I wanted to see it so bad. Because knowing that I was really a big fan of, I have always admired Jewel Cath, but I was really more of a Julia Montes fan, even up to this day. I was always more of a Julia Montes fan. Going back to the Mara Clara days when she was the villain, Clara Del Valle, Clara David, right? So, yeah, I've been waiting so long to watch that movie that I wasn't sure at the time if I was going to be able to watch it. Plus, I didn't know who to watch it with at the time either, so I had two issues. But for the most part, luckily for me, because of the extension, I think the extension lasted for a week, and then that's when I was able to make the time for it. So fortunately, I got Russ to go with me, and we were able to watch it after all. So this is one of the best memories I've had in 2011. Obviously, the next couple of weeks after, I am going to talk about that as well. Then I saw these ladies in person at Universal. You remember that one couple million ago event? So I will talk about that as well. And then the week after, I saw them again in person at the LA Convention Center when they had that in the Film Expo. Also going to talk about that. So, yeah, there will be 3 topics for me to cover, including this one, regarding my Jewel Cath experience. So this one here is definitely one of them. And it all happened in 2011. So I just thought I would touch on this because me and Russ watched this movie Way Back Home in that Cerritos Regal Edwards Theater. So, yep. I loved it. He was okay with it. But knowing him, he was more into like action movies, sports, and politics and religion, all kinds of other things, but mostly a sports guy, you know. So, but he said he was cool. He liked this movie too, but not to the extent that I liked, because, you know, I was a big fan of Mara Schnitka, aka Julia. So, you know, it was just great seeing them on theaters, especially on the big screen. You know, so this is just one of the most unforgettable experiences. Just seeing Jewel cast, even in theaters, as it started off, because eventually I saw them in person twice later in that month of September. So yeah, if it wasn't for this extension, I think I would have missed out, because like I said, you know, I didn't think I was going to have the opportunity to watch it, and I would have felt so disappointed. And plus, I wanted to have no one to watch with. But luckily, there was an extension, a week extension. So it was good for me to see it. I loved every bit of that movie too. I love the fact that I saw, you know, both my idols, even though Julia is my bigger idol than Kathryn. So, you know, it's and as far as them, you know, as far as their future, you know I don't really keep up with TFC that much anymore, but you know, I know Mara is in one of the shows right now. I saw my grandmother watch the show that she was in, and I forgot what it's called, but I think she's with Sam Milby in there. And I totally forgot what the show is called, but it's out now, and I don't know if it's an ABS show or what have you, but, you know, I did say I was going to stop watching ABS way back in 2018. I wrote a blog about it, but, you know, it's already been that long, and I know we're well past the pandemic, so, you know, I don't know. I have not since then been able to keep up, with just lots of things going on, and, you know, in my life, and just, you know, just prioritizing the main things that I'm trying to solve, especially as it comes to, as I've been trying to leave my dump for a long time, you know. But for the most part, you know, maybe someday I will see these girls again on the screen. Who knows? Will I ever see them again in person? I don't know. Likely not. But who knows? But I know they probably got busy with their lives, and even I don't think they're even that much on the news anymore. The only time they were so very relevant was, you know, during the times that, you know, when they had Mara Clara, and then eventually they went on to do Growing Up, and I hear the Disneyland fireworks so loud all the way from here. Disneyland. And speaking of Disneyland, yeah, these girls actually went to Disneyland. Was it the day before, or is it like 2 days after they went to Universal to do their show with some of the other casts from the One Cup a Million ago? I remember I saw a tweet from Julia, and she said they went to Disneyland, I think 2 days after. That was, what was it, the 20th? That's actually Eric's birthday. So yeah, you know, I wish I could have run into them if I wasn't in school that day. I was obviously still in school then, you know, on my last year in Cal State Fullerton. So, you know, I just thought I'd touch on this because it was one of the most memorable moments I ever had, and especially just, hanging out with Russ for the first time ever. If he watches this video, he will know. Just a fun fact. And so yeah, but then we did not hang out again until we played tennis. That was the following year. So, but of all the hangouts, like when you're talking about first time, this had to be it. And we both watched Jewel Kath on the big screen. Yeah, man, so many memories just watching Jewel Kath. Julia and Kathryn, and watching all their shows, right? And especially watching Growing Up, and obviously Mara Clara, and I really miss seeing them on screen. And especially as I'm talking about this, I really do miss seeing them on screens together, and I actually just miss them overall. I know I'm getting pretty busy with other things going on in my life, but for the most part, this is just a great memory to touch on, and I'm never and ever gonna forget it, because this is one that's gonna be on the record books forever. And I just thought I'd share it because it happened on this very day, and ironically enough, it is on Labor Day. So anyways, that's all I gotta say about it. And I don't know when I'll see Jewel Kath again, but who knows? But before I close this out, I want to actually recite the one very poem that I actually remember out of this particular movie, The Way Back Home. And it was actually Julia that recited this poem. Did she create it on her own? I'm trying to remember, but I just know she recited this poem. So I'm gonna say it. It was part of the movie. So I was gonna just say it for those who actually remember the movie. Like I said, I loved every bit of it. And especially this poem. I love that both Julia and Kathryn was reunited. I think they were sisters in that movie, if I'm not mistaken. But this is Julia's poem, so I'm just gonna read it off before I close this out. Little turtle, rushing to meet the sea, broke out of your shell, you're now free. Little turtle on a long journey, embrace the waves, follow your destiny. Little turtle, searching for that place where time stands still and everyone stays. Little turtle, have you found a home for you to love and never alone? Little turtle, nurse your broken heart, for there's no going back to the start. Little turtle, drowning in an ocean of pain, let your tears wash away with the rain. Little turtle, aren't you getting tired? Pretending you really never died inside? Little turtle, stop reaching out for the sun. In her eyes, you belong in the ocean. Little turtle, lost at sea, rise above your misery. Little turtle, lost at sea, remember how it used to be. Little turtle, lost at sea, you'll be found, maybe.